Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to look into the SQL Server installation. So as a first session, we are directly going ahead and starting installation, so that from the next sessions we will have some work to perform on the SQL Server database. So I have a VM already created in the Azure cloud, and I just connected to that VM. So to download the SQL Server, we can download Developer Edition, which is a free edition. So there is no need of paying any license for this Developer Edition. We can get the link. You can search for the SQL Server Developer Edition, and you can open this one. You will be seeing an edition called Developer Edition. You can download it here. Once it is downloaded, open here, and you can double click here. Once you double click here, you will get three options. So we will go with the download media option, so that we will download the setup file, and later we will start installation of the setup file. So we have other two options, but it is an inbuilt installation process and we don't have anything to perform on that. So it is recommended to go with the download media option, so that we will have a setup file getting downloaded. From there we will start installation of SQL Server in this particular server. This is an Windows operating system. In this Windows operating system, we are installing SQL Server 2022 Developer Edition. So in the official website, we always have a Developer Edition, which is the latest version, which is 2022. This will be downloaded as a media. You can see here this is 1.08 GB. So as it is downloaded, I'll double click here to start to go ahead with the installation. Once we double click here, it will show the option of setup. I'll click on the setup option, and I can see the next step as the configuration or setting of the installation of SQL Server. As I already told, this is SQL Server 2022. Version is 2022. Now we will have this option. Just click on installation, and we are just going ahead and new SQL Server standalone installation. So we are just installing a new SQL Server standalone installation. If you click here, it will go to the next step, wherein we will have more options. So as there are multiple editions, Evolution, Express, Developer, presently we are using Developer Edition, wherein we will have all the required option in the Developer Edition even without license. But if you have a license, you need to select this one, and you can enter the key wherein it is related to the license. But for us, we will go with the testing of the SQL Server, so we use Developer Edition. Once it is done, we'll select on next option, and these are the agreements which you can accept the agreements, and click on next. Now there will be an option like Microsoft Update. You no need to do anything, you can just click on next. So it is presently checking for the setup files, whether all the setup files is available or not, and it will give pass or fail and warning. So warning is not an issue. If it is failed, then we need to review. As it is a warning, no need of looking into that. The other are successful. Once we click on next, it will show the option of the features which we want to install in the SQL Server. SQL Server will have all these different features, and we need to install the features which is required for us. So I am installing the required features. I know the features which it is required, so I select the some of the features which is required only, and the database engine services, all these poly data quality services, all these are required for us to go ahead and create a database once the installation is completed. Then once I select this one, I'll click on next. So if you want, you can select all the options and you can check what is the each option is doing. So now we have a concept of default instance and named instance. So default instance means it is a default, and we can select this if it is the first installation in the operating system. As I am showing here, this is the first installation in the operating system, so we have an option to select default instance. But if you want to install named instance, mean more than default instance, then you need to select the instance and you need to give it a name, whatever the instance name you want. But as it is a initial one, we can select as a default one. And instance ID, we usually leave it as a default, so that we can give it a name also, but recommended to leave it as a default. And click on next here. Once you click on next, we will have more instance configuration related information which we need to select. So here these are the agents, these are the SQL Server features which we selected, and these are the things which will be installed. So it is just giving what is the setup, what is the account name we want, what is the type we want. We can, once installation is done, once it is started, once OS is started, we can start it as it is. You can keep automatic, and this account name at this time we no need to change this. However, with this we can also run the SQL Server services. So collation is another part. This is a default collation. Collation is nothing but which represents the data which is saved, like Latin general, like whether it is case sensitive, active sensitive, all these related to the collations, like languages. If you want to save data in different languages other than Chinese, we need to change the customization of the collation. So like that, suppose if you select a general, and if you want to insert data which is in a language of Chinese, it will not be compatible because the data will not be saved properly, which is the reason if it is other than the English or other than the requirement, other than the default, we need to select which is required here. So I selected here and I'll just click on next. Now here we will have an option to select the authentication mode. Authentication mode, we have two types of authentication mode. I will also explain after installing. uh, Related to the authentication mode, we have Windows authentication mode. Windows authentication mode, here what we are doing is we are giving permissions for the SQL instance. Once the installation is completed, the way we log in, we will decide here. Once the installation is completed, the process in which we log in is decided here. Windows authentication means the one which we logged in into the operating system, that is called Windows authenticated system, the one which we logged in into the operating system. If we search who am I, it will show the name of the Windows login. So means that we are giving access on the SQL instance to this ID. If I want give access with the process of login and password model, I can click on here and I need to give some password, wherein I'll show once it is installation is completed, I'll show you what it means. So I am adding a current user, means I am also want to add the current user which I logged in into this particular operating system. So the one which is, this is the one which I logged in. Now data directories. So data directories is we need to give the location in the path wherein we want to save the database related files. we are giving the data root user database, so what we create personally. And the tempdb, there is another option which is called tempdb. Tempdb is a database, system database, which is used as a temporary database to store temporary data and the process information, or process any data which we want to do it temporarily. So we can leave this as a default related to the max DOP, and memory we can keep as a default. So this is the configuration which we go before going ahead with the next step. So we will do some changes here. If you want, if you don't want the default location, you can change this particular you can change the location path. So we can change the location of the data files if you want to change. Like present it is C, we can change it to D, something like that. So there is no issue on that. Even in the real-time environment, we will be allocated, the storage team or the Windows team will be allocating some drives to select the location wherein we need to use that particular location to save the database files. So this is the test one which we are doing, so we can go with the default. But however, if you want to change the location, we can change based on the availability of the disk. Now once the configuration is done and we are okay with this, then we will click on next. So the configuration will be validated and it will give the summary of the one which it is going to install, and we can at this time we can start installation of this. Okay, so it will be running in the background. Meanwhile, we need to also install one of the software which is called SSMS. SSMS means, so it is this is the agenda which we are discussing. We will be downloading 2012 developer edition and we will be installing the developer edition. So meanwhile we'll also download and install SSMS. SSMS means SQL Server Management Studio. So here we will download, you can search SSMS download, you'll get an option to download. If you click here, it will show this one, download SSMS. It is a free version, no need of any licenses. We can directly go ahead and install that. So this is this is where it is running. So let us see if about the services which is running. Any I just want to show services presently and after installation what we will see. So in the Microsoft SQL Server you don't see anything. So Microsoft SQL Server you don't see anything related. Once installation we will be able to see. That's what I just want to show you the thing. So the SQL Server Database Management Studio is a tool to connect to the databases which are being created with the help of the SQL Server. Now I can SSMS setup. I can open this and I can double click this. This is used to install Management Studio. Management Studio means the tool which is used to connect to the SQL Server databases or the SQL Server instance. So without any tool we cannot manage the SQL Server databases because it is run as a service process. It will be running in the background, but we need to connect from the front end what is happening in the background. So as it is this setup is running, it is asking for a reboot. Then we let the setup complete, then we'll go ahead with the reboot and we can install SSMS. So just we'll just another 1 minute, less than 1 minute, it will be able to complete. Later we will be going ahead and restarting the server. So After SQL Server installation, restarting of the server is mandatory. It is compulsory to restart the SQL Server. Means if someone comes to you and asks to install SQL Server, you should know that SQL Server installation requires server reboot. The same way, SSMS installation also requires server reboot. So you need to make sure that whenever you are installing, you should get proper approvals to perform the server reboots. So because both these setups require server, Windows OS reboots is required. So we need to make sure we get proper approvals from the server owners so that there will be no issues. Without any approvals, if it is a new server, we can directly perform anything because no databases will be available. But if it is an existing server and if they are asking you to install a named instance, means as I told, named instance means the instance other than the default one. So if you are doing that, then it is required to get the approvals. So now you are seeing we are able to the installation is about to complete, and next we'll complete. Once it is complete, it will show the success message, success window. Then we will go ahead and reboot the server. So it is performing all the installation steps, including everything. You can see here DB start configuration installation. Once it is completed, I will show you one discovery link that we will be getting one link how the installation process went on, what is the output of each step in the installation. So let us see this. Here it is running SQL Server Discovery. Just in less than 1 minute, we'll be able to see the completion of the SQL Server installation. So here this is the last step, which it gathers all the information related to the SQL Server. So as I told, it is completed and everything, all the features which I selected is succeeded, and you can see here status is installation is successful, and you can summary log file has been saved to the following location. So this is the location where you need to, we can see the status of what happened, everything. So if you get a question from the interviewer saying that where you will be seeing the installation logs, you need to refer to this setup bootstrap location. This is very important. People will ask if they have any questions on the SQL Server installations, they will ask you where will you find out the output or the error log of the installation. So setup bootstrap is the folder which is important, you should remember. So I will close this and I will click on the restart so that we'll restart the server. So the server is presently restarting. Let us keep refreshing here. Still no update. You can see a restart stop. So I think it is connected. Let me go ahead and connect to this. So the server is up and we are able to connect to the server. Once we connect to the server, it will be doing a initial check. So I'll go to the location which I saved the SSMS. This is the SSMS setup and I'll double click this one. I'll during the installation I will also show the services which is running, which shows you the how the SQL Server is running in the background. So it will ask the location where you want to install, so you can change the location or you can leave it as it is and you can install. So it will be performing installation of the SQL Server Management Studio. Meanwhile, I'll show you the services running, SQL services which are running in the background. Okay, now you can see, if I click on yes, you will see here the SQL Server is in agent. This is the agent and this is a SQL Server. We'll just try to start the agent. Sorry, to start this SQL Server. This is the important first major service which we need to keep on running, and this is the agent is actually used to schedule any activity related to the database. So these are the two instances which we require for the database to run. So now how we will know what is happening in the background? It is running now. How we will know what is running in the background? So we don't know, we don't have any GUI. We can perform some activities with the help of command prompt, but will not be able to perform more activities, as performing this will be a little hard task, which is the reason there is a SQL Server Management Studio. Suppose we'll see here SQL CMD. Okay, so without the SQL Server Studio, we can try to use SQL CMD, and server name we can get from, if you want a server name we can just get from host name. So it is VM1. We'll try to check whether we are able to sorry. So like this, you will see that I am just trying to connect it to the SQL Server instance, and I just try to execute some sessions which are running in the services. So here, if we don't have the SSMS Management Studio, we need to use everything from here. Select star from sys databases, and if you click here, so it will show the databases. Like, what are the databases? See here, master. You'll see the databases which are system databases. There are two types of databases. One is system databases, one is user databases. System databases are default databases which will be running including with the SQL instance. But if you want to create any database, we can create database. Here we'll try to create database, database name. So we just executed that. Let us see whether the database is created or not. Sys databases where name equal to test1. See here, we can see, I think it is not okay. Select star from sys databases. You can see here, we can see test1. Test1 is the database which is created. Select so you can see here test1, we have a database created as test1. So like this, we can check on the command prompt level also. But performing all the activities on the command prompt is not that easy, which is the reason we will be using this particular SSMS Studio which just got installed. You can search here as SSMS. This is shortcut. If you open here, it is just opening. Let us see our agenda. Download and install SSMS is completed. Now we'll go ahead and connect to the SQL instance. I showed you how to connect. I showed you how to connect in the SQL command prompt. The same way I'll show you how to connect in the SSMS. So in the previous installation I told you, right, we need to set up type like Windows authentication or a mixed authentication. Means Windows authentication, if you select, it will defaultly take the login which we logged in into the operating system. If we connect, it will be able to connect because we gave access to this ID while installation. The same way we can connect with the help of, we created some password. The default password is this. We'll see. See here, I created. So mixed authentication means the one which we are able to connect security. Say Windows authentication, SQL Server, and Windows. This is called mixed authentication method. This is called Windows authentication. If you select Windows authentication, you will not be able to use this SQL login and password model. If you select this one only, we will be able to use on the both modes. So this is the reason I just see here. I created a test right here. Here through the SQL command prompt, I created a test. The same is created here. So if you want to select something there, we'll just create a new query. Select start from sys databases. Execute. So sys databases means the databases which we are which is available on the instance. This is called a SQL instance. We are connecting to the SQL instance. So now see here, you are seeing this is running and we are able to connect. Let me show you. So this is running and we are able to connect. So we are able to see all the data. Suppose think that I am just going ahead and stopping this. So let us see what happens after stopping. So the services is stopped now. Now I'll try to connect. So you will not be able to connect because the background services which are supposed to run is in stopped state and it cannot connect. So which is the reason this service should be running in the background for the database to be accessible. So now the database is not accessible. You cannot connect to the database because it is in the stopped state. So now I'll start this again. So this is a agent. Without that also we can not clear. Click here, just connect it. So this is agent. As we didn't start it here, it is not started there also. I'll start there and we'll try refresh agent. See, everything came into line. So once these services are running. So this is the agenda for this particular session, which I covered till to connect to the SQL instance. I hope you are able to understand what I am trying to teach you or tell you. If you are interested to go ahead and follow this, you can also perform the installation and everything on your local PC also. That will help you to do a hands-on on these particular activities. So thank you guys for watching till now. So I hope this is very helpful to you. We'll meet in the next session. Thank you.